The time is now 5:30. The date is April 15th, 2025. We will call to order for the meeting of Mayor and Council for the city of Statesboro. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. Hear these words, 2 words of prayer. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who are gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to one another. May it be so. Amen. And please rise to pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move down to agenda item 3, recognitions and public presentation. We have a presentation by Statesboro Youth Council. I will turn that over to Dr. LaSalle so she can lead us through that.
Mayor and Council, the Statesboro Youth Council have had a very eventful year already. So today they will stand before you, introduce themselves, and tell you the journeys that they have been embarking on since the beginning of the year. At this time, I introduce to you our junior mayor, Jamerson Hughes, and he will tell the community what's been happening with our placemaking project. Grace Colbert Huff, and Eden Shavers will be presenting their GMA trip to Atlanta, and then Alan Beasley and our junior mayor will talk about their Washington, D.C. trip.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jamerson Hughes, and I am the junior mayor for the Statesboro Youth Council. So the placemaking grant, it has been successful and it is now official. At the beginning, it was a lot of old things out on the trail. It was a lot of benches tore up. It was a lot. When we went there, it was children playing, and we saw fit that if these children are playing, maybe they might get hurt playing on one of the benches. Maybe they need something to liven and make the Mattel Trail beautiful again. So myself and the Statesboro Youth Council set out the goal and the mission to make sure that when we got the placemaking grant, that we made sure that it went towards something that people visit, or maybe they exercise there, or maybe children from different, Children from different neighborhoods are coming to just play, to interact with each other. So we did face a lot of challenges with this project, whether it was through different people's agendas, maybe it was the hurricanes, or it was storms, or it was, and then one of the weeks it was snow week. So we had to push back stuff and constantly go back and make sure that what we set out to be accomplished, that it was accomplished. So these are some pictures. The before and after does look, you would think that the bottom one should be the before. The bottom one should be the before, and the top one should be the after. But one was taken during spring and one was taken during winter. So they kind of look like they should be the opposite. We did switch out benches. So now on the Mattel Trail, there are benches that are not so where maybe it got sharp shavings coming out of it, that is now safe for children to sit and enjoy, or maybe adults to talk and get life stuff dealt with. So these are some photos of the chess park. The chess park is now completed. The benches are out there. The flower, what is it called? The flower planters and pavers are now there. So it looks really good, and it has been an amazing outcome. So we did have some public feedback. Like, thank you all for your dedication and hard work. Some people, the trail looked stunning. We could also notice when we cleaned it up. And then we just had a lot of comments flooding in from different places, letting us know that this was a really good outturn and how it came about. So our future plans is to maintain and make sure that the McTell Trail stays clean and safe for everyone that comes through there, that if there's something that needs changing or something that they think that they want to add to it, that their voices are heard and the Statesboro Youth Council are taking in those and not just letting them go void. So we did want to extend our thank you to Dr. LaSarah Mitchell. We did want to extend our thank you to the council as a whole, because y'all could have voted in a different direction or said, no, we couldn't take this initiative, but you put the best foot forward and you put what you had in mind and that it was the right decision to make. So thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I am Grace Huff Colbert. I am the Secretary for the Statesboro Council.
Good afternoon. My name is Eden Chambers, and I am the historian and recorder for the Statesboro Youth Council.
We're here before you to talk about our GMA experience. So basically, this event is where all council in the state of Georgia come together. And so this was our agenda that took place. We did icebreaker, keynote speakers, place looking good, and our conclusion.
For the icebreaker, we did a scavenger hunt around the building, and then we also did a get to know someone bingo where we walked around the room and we got to know somebody based on characteristics on the paper, and we also built a home out of Legos.
These were our key note speakers for the event. Brooke Huckabee, she was the first, she's the youngest mayor in her county, in Arabi County, and
Elena Hudson is the youngest council member in her county, which is Douglasville.
And we have Michael Taylor, councilman from Hogansville, Georgia. He was elected in the year 2020. His focus is to help with infrastructures and the youth as well.
One of our sessions was UNICEF Child Rights, where we got to talk about the different child rights that's in our country and in the nation as a whole. We got to learn the definitions of each of the child rights, and we got to discuss which ones are more important to us.
We also we had Freddie Broom. He showed us a visual with giraffes. Like when giraffes are first born, they walk. Like when they're first born, they don't know how to walk, and so they didn't give up. They keep stumbling, but it just showed resilience, and it shows us to show perseverance in whatever circumstances that we come through.
Here are just some pictures of us. We went to the Olympic Centennial Park, and that's our pictures. And we also took pictures in front of the GMA building.
We got to speak briefly for the placemaking grant and the challenges and our success of being able to complete this project.
In conclusion, going to the GMA in Atlanta was a very valuable experience. We got to learn different things. We got to meet new people, and we had a great opportunity. Thank y'all.
Hey, Mayor and Council. My name is Alan Beasley. I attend school at Statesboro Student Academy, and I run as my school's liaison. And I'd like to give you a trip about our DC trip. Our recent trip to Washington was an enriching experience, and it was filled with historic landmarks, cultural insights, and memorable activities. We started our journey with a bus ride from City of Statesboro and around to Williamsburg, Virginia. And that day we went to eat at Thousand Victor's, Italian buffet where we took delicious food. Next morning on Monday, we began to eat breakfast and we went to Busch Gardens. We spent the day exploring rides and attractions at the park and went on some amazing rides. We had dinner later on that night and we went to visit iconic memorials such as the Franklin D. Roosevelt Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, and Martin Luther King. Next following day, we went to the Capitol building and for a guided tour and group photos, variety of places such as Supreme Court, the White House Visitor Center, and we also went to the World Trade Centers. Tuesday, we had dinner at Elephant Castle and we enjoyed a nice sit-down dinner. Afterwards, we went to World War II Memorial, Vietnam Veterans Memorial, and the Lincoln Memorial. On our last day, we went to Arlington, Virginia to visit the Arlington National Cemetery, reflecting on the sacrifices of those who have served the nation. We watched a ceremony of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, honoring the memory of the all soldiers of World War I. These are our quotes. I can read mine from the top. It says, if the problem of the 20th century was in W.E. Du Bois' famous words, the problem of the 21st century is the problem of colorblindness, the refusal to acknowledge the causes and consequences of enduring racial stratification. This trip has been a combination of education, cultural enrichment, and moments of reflection, leaving everyone with lasting memories. It was a chance to connect deeply with our history and heritage of the United States. Thank you.
So to conclude all of our presentations, we would like to thank the Statesboro Council for allowing us to have these experiences, and that your vote is not going without notice, that you are doing an amazing job and continue to enrich and allow the youth of Statesboro to have these experiences. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna move down to, agenda item 4, public comments for the agenda. Any public comments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going on to agenda item 5, which is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. Approval minutes of the, April the 1st, 2025 council minutes, as well as consideration of a motion to approve the surplus of outdated electronics in the Statesboro Police Department, as well as consideration of a motion to approve the surplus of 2 vehicles and 3 trailers from the Statesboro Police Department inventory. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move on to agenda item 6, public hearing and consideration of a motion to approve application RZ 24-10-OT. Colette Sal Burke requests the zoning map amendment from the R15 zoning district to the R4 high density residential zoning district on approximately 0.32 acres of property in order to construct a duplex on Garfield Street and Downing Simmons Way. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Kathy, if you will.
Thank you, sir. Currently, the property is a vacant 0.32 acre lot. The applicant seeks to amend the zoning in order to allow for an increase in the number of units on the lot to the maximum extent of a duplex. The surrounding neighborhood consists of only single-family homes. The proposed zoning map amendment would not be aligned with established residential neighborhood. Due to the size and location of the lot, the R4 setbacks would not allow for more than 4 parking spaces. So you can see the parcel on the corner outlined in red. future land use map shows this to be in a redevelopment area. The zoning map shows this to be in an R15 residential neighborhood. And you can see the subject property on the top left, it's currently vacant. The property to the north, which reflects one of the homes on the street, is shown on the bottom right. The property to the south is shown on the top left, and the property to the southwest, which also reflects another home, is shown on the bottom right. And we have additional homes shown southeast of the property and then to the west of the property. And here is the proposed sketch plan for the development. And you can see that there are 4 parking spaces just subsequent to the 2 units. And we do recommend denial of RZ 24-10-02 due to the lack of compatible structures in the immediate area. And if this petition is approved by the mayor and city council, it should be subject to the applicant's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. 1, approval of the zoning map amendment does not grant the right to develop on the property. All construction must be reviewed and approved by the city. 2, the property may not be granted any additional exceptions to increase density beyond the maximum already set by regulations in the UDC. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2025, the Commission recommended approval of this request on staff conditions on a 5-0 vote. And I will mention that one of the reasons that they did essentially overturn my recommendation was that because of Bill Gross's project down the street. And that was what they hung their hat on. And I will make the recommendation that this is basically a Ramble Road, East Main Street situation. And I really think it's inconsistent with the rest of the street being single family. And I try to show you those as well. So that is my presentation, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kathy. All right, is there anyone here to speak for this request? All right, is there anyone here to speak against this request? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? I want to open it up for council discussion. Any discussion about council?
Yeah, so what they're proposing is to put, pretty much an apartment complex or duplex in the middle of, single family home.
Any further discussion by council? Is there a motion from council?
Hold on, I have another question. So
Right.
that's on Garfield Street?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Any further discussion by council?
My understanding it's on the corner right there on Donnie Simmons and Garfield.
Yes.
It's not far from the new apartments. And we don't have any neighbors here showing up complaining, and I'm sure the yellow sign has been out there, but I tend to go with staff, so.
Any further discussion by council? Right, is there a recommendation from council?
I just don't know how I feel about the duplex sitting right in the middle of single family homes. That's, because we had a situation like this before. So if we allow this, other duplexes can come in this neighborhood, and it's not zoned for that.
Yeah, and the difference between this and what's happening at Julie P. Bryant is that Julie P. Bryant is one big project. It's not a neighborhood, it's a former school. So that's the difference between this and that. But is there a recommendation for council at this point?
Well, I'm gonna go with, Kathy's recommendation for denial on this.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, any opposed? All right, let's show that, that agenda item 6 is passed. What has been voted out, I'm sorry. Right. We'll go to agenda item 7, which is the public hearing consideration of a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2025-01, or ordinance amending the Unified Development Code. Is there a motion to open the public hearing? Is there a second? All those in favor? All right, Kathy, if you'll give us some insight on this.
Yes, Five Guys Development LLC is requesting a preliminary subdivision approval on approximately 33.08 acres of property.
We said,
We're in the
Yeah.
public hearing for unified development.
This is on the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I take it all back.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I don't see that part.
Yeah, okay, all right.
So,
We can go ahead and do that one first.
Yeah. Yeah,
You want Kathy to.
yeah, Kathy,
who is presenting that?
is Kathy, the, ordinance number 7?
Oh, the ordinance number 7,
Yeah, amending the Unified Development Code.
right. I believe you had a discussion during your leadership retreat,
Mhm.
and it was all explained at that point.
Yeah.
Um,
I forget what they call them, the notes.
There was no Scribner.
Scrivener notes.
Yes, there were Scribner notes, and there are other amendments as well that are proposed for this evening.
All right. Ms. Penny, any further insight?
Again, this is only the first reading. I do think one of the things that, and I know in the newspaper, Al called this out, one change in this ordinance is going to allow for tiny homes, but it would be in a development area. We wouldn't see tiny homes popping up in the R15. It would be a designated development. There may be some other setback requirements, as I remember, that we made some adjustments to. One other one that comes to mind, Kathy, I think we reduced the amount of commercial development in a PUD.
Yes, exactly.
We had, I think, previously we had something like 20 or 25% had to be commercial development. I think we took that down
That's
to
right.
about 10%.
10%, that's exactly
10%.
right.
But the rest of it was more the Scribner areas. But at the same time, there were some things that we learned in the year, a little bit more than a year and a half of having the unified development ordinance that we made some modifications and recommendations to. I do think one other thing that will come forward, probably not at this point, but we talked about it at the retreat, Mayor, about private streets and developments, and I'm specifically speaking of like the cobblestone area. But that was developed as a PUD. That was before we updated our unified development code, and it was trying to find a way to force something to fit. But we were going to bring some other changes back to address problems like that. But in this case, again, this is the first reading, and if we'll go back through it, Mayor, for the second reading and make sure if there's something of note that we need to bring out to you. We'll do that at the next meeting before you close the second reading.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. All right, is there anyone here to speak for or against this request?
Hopefully I'm not it, but good to be back before you again tonight, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm Steve Rushing. I'm an attorney here in town. Tonight I'm acting in my representative capacity for one of the home builders here in town, Horizon Home Builders. If you will recall, they are the developers of Woodford Station subdivision out south of town. And I don't think we have any problem with the Scrivener's edits, but there is a substantive addition, we believe, to the code that will very much impact this development as well as future ones, and that's section 2.5.9, multi-unit fire protection. it does reference multi-household dwellings and townhomes. And our development is indeed a townhome development. And most importantly, we are probably over half completed. And when I say half completed, we have originally planned 172 units. We have already 91 permitted and framed, and even 57 of those have received certificate of occupancy and have people living there. We have, I think, 50 tenants at this point, but we've got roughly 81 more permits to pull on that. And so we're not sure how this would work with us. Frankly, they just learned about it about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and I learned about an hour ago. So please excuse me if I'm not fully prepared. But we would ask that the council give further consideration to this, particularly with respect to the townhomes aspect of this. Just to remind you a little bit about a townhome, ours particularly are standalone platted single-family units. They'll have independent electrical, independent plumbing. There are several in a row, I think maybe 6 in a row, but they are each independent platted units. And certainly these that we have going right now are not designed or engineered for the sprinkler system requirement. We certainly would have to bring in engineers to even figure out if that's something that can be done where you've got independent. I feel certain it can be. What we don't know is what the cost might be, but we would expect them to be quite significant just in the just from our experience and what we do know already. And even since this particular project was commenced, there has been some other additions to the Uniform Development Code, which we have absorbed. Some hardy board requirements and some other like that has added to cost, but we've certainly absorbed those and believe this certainly has good intentions on it, but what there are some effects of it that I think could really curb our whole purpose. If you'll remember, this council kind of reached out to the home builders, and with the increasing prices of all our single-family dwellings, and they passed the townhome ordinance, and we to try to bring more, I guess, affordable type single-family housing to our community, and just from what we can look at, I think you may even take the townhome back out of the affordable category and put it back into the unaffordable category. At a minimum, we think we're looking at $5 a square foot, or even more than that. Again, once we put engineers to it, but on this particular project that we're already over halfway in, there's no way we could do that. We'd have to, in fact, if this does get passed, we'll have to be up here with our other 81 permit applications next week, because we've already engineered it, we've already even financed it. And so we're not sure how we could go back and this far along change that particular subdivision. But then speaking generally, just even beyond this particular development that's so far along, there's presently no federal or state requirements for this type sprinkler system for townhomes. And again, I understand the concept. It's a fire safety measure. We're trying to save lives, and I do understand that. But we do also have existing measures that we are already implementing. We do have the required firewalls in between each of our units. We've got hardwired smoke detectors with battery backups. Those things are certainly more affordable than the full sprinkler system. But we just think that we would ask that you look at those aspects of it as well. And, I know we would dwell on the life safety part of it, but if we still have this desire for our affordable housing, certainly when it comes to townhomes, which is one of the elements here, I think we could possibly put that back out of the affordable category. We'd ask that you look closer at that, in future, perhaps between this reading and the next, and if we can have any input on that, we would certainly like to participate in that. But that's our concerns with that substantive addition to the uniform code. Again, I understand about the edits, and we have no problem with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. My name is Hayden Rollins, Plessy Gate Bell. Here to sort of echo what Mr. Rushing had to say. I would like to add that these type of projects takes years to come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
So as things change, prices go up, there's some things you can and can't avoid.
Mm-hmm.
But like Mr. Rushing said, this is could be a significant cost burden to a lot of developers that already have a lot of lots or units entitled, which we all know. That just opens up a lot of trouble for those folks as they move forward with development. Another thing I'd like to add too is that we, as a company, do a lot of development all over the southeast Georgia and in a lot of different municipalities, and we have never seen this type of requirement. So I would just like to add that.
All right,
Thank y'all.
Which section exactly were you talking about?
It's the fire 2.9.5, I believe.
2.5.9.
2.5.
It's for the bottom.
And again, we just want to keep in mind that this is a first reading.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else for or against? All right, 2.5. All right, seeing that there's not,
Just had a little bit to add, Mayor. My name is David Lamar Pierce,
all right.
the manager, City Council. Just to add to some things, like Mr. Rushing was saying, we are implementing a lot of safety requirements and all in our single-family attached dwelling units. And I think that's where we're having a little gray area, is you have apartment complexes and then you have single-family attached dwelling units, which are two different, completely different housing projects or places to live. So I think that's one thing to note.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, anyone else for or against? All right, seeing,
I just want to echo them. This is the first I heard of this, but I'm also a bit concerned. There could be a day when Habitat is building townhouses, and I can just imagine putting in a separate sprinkler system for each unit would be cost prohibitive for us even to consider doing something like that.
all right, thank you. Anyone else for or against? All right. Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, you want to open it up for council discussion, any discussion by council?
So, Mr. Mayor, maybe staff can instruct me, the difference here, most of the things that we put in new, things that are already in progress, don't get affected, it's new stuff coming in. But the difference here is that townhomes get certificates of occupancy individually near completion, so it would affect some already in progress. Is that right? Is that the difference?
No.
Yes, that's the answer, yes. It would affect those in progress. Now, this came through the fire chief, this proposed amendment. And I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's there.
Well, this could be applied however council determines you want to apply this going forward. You could do it conditionally as, like Mr. Rushing stated, to impact, to do this midstream in a development would impact that development financially in a very consequential manner.
But any new development.
But any new development, that's right, but at a certain point, and we do the same thing when we apply like new fees and things of that nature, permits and stuff, tap fees, et cetera. We just don't hit people midstream and say, well, the second half of your development's gonna have to apply. This is gonna apply.
We could grandfather those developments.
Yeah, and I would like to see the staff have some more conversation with our local developers, just to kind of get a little bit more insight, so we know what's coming down the pipeline.
Absolutely.
And then find out, then follow up with us, so we can have an idea of what we got in store.
Mayor, could we as Chief Tim come forward with it and just share, because I know he's talked about it, but I don't want to try to explain it.
Yeah, so, again, I think that the intent here, as I've kind of explained earlier, is we have a large rental population. A lot of Georgia Southern students that utilize these. Townhome is I guess the intended purpose is for to be owned by an individual to live there. What we have found, and I'm not saying any developers have in the past done this, I'm just saying what we are experiencing in our community are these townhomes are being built but being utilized as apartments, and being catered to the Georgia Southern students. Copper Beach was one of the very first ones that created some concern for us, because again, and I had a couple of little statistics. The U.S. Fire Administration notes that college-age adults 18 to 24 often have a lack of experience in fire safety practices. So again, this is more about being proactive. I understand the cost, concerns up front, but locally we've gotten some pricing of $3.50 a square foot, which is comparable to an upgrade in countertops or flooring or something of that type of nature. It's really just a proactive effort to try to keep this thing from spiraling out of control, because again, apartment buildings are required to be sprinklered. And that's the only difference is that we're building them and they are correct. They have firewalls and things of that nature, but that's not intended to put the fire out. That's only to confine it, and it does not do anything for smoke and those kind of things. So again, it's just our approach was just more of a concern for our local community. The state allows us, they have restriction on how far we can push this. It has to be more than 2 units. We can't do duplexes, things of that nature. And there's some things that we certainly feel like we can work with local developers on. And be more than willing to have those conversations. But again, I think that I would just encourage the council to keep in mind that this is not just something that we're just kind of throwing out there to see if it sticks. That this is something that we have assessed locally in our community, and based on our makeup with the college, the number of students, the types of fires that we see in that setting, this just makes good sense moving forward. At some point, again, I get that there's projects in process, and I'm not suggesting that we go back or make folks make major renovations or anything like that. I'm just saying, as we continue to grow as a community, this is something I would strongly recommend us looking at.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any further discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, we're looking at all of the amendments, are still talking about fires.
We're still on number 7. Yeah, so we're just looking at what was brought up. So we're not going through the whole thing. We're just going through what's being discussed now. If there's others that you want to discuss, we can discuss those. Anything that you want to bring up in particular.
I just had a question about the 2 places in the ordinance amendment or changes. Amenity space requirements are only for residential developments or eating establishments, and the fact it's in there is something new. Did it previously apply to like MX, or what's the reason that we need that? Are we saying we're not going to require amenity space in places that we previously did? Kathy, help me understand.
No, this is basically the language that we've always had in here. The only changes are shown in red.
This is in red, something that was added to the amenity space.
Yes.
About allowing tables to be counted.
Right, well, the idea is if there's a restaurant with outdoor dining space, we can count those as amenity space.
That makes sense. The second line, I'm trying to find it again, was what I didn't understand, where we also had a line about this is only going to apply to.
It says,
okay, I'm looking at, what is this? It's on page 26 in my packet. And it's in red, to encourage encourage outdoor dining, it may be counted towards amenity space requirements. But then in red, it says amenity space requirements will only be required for residential developments or eating establishments.
Yes.
So did it previously apply to somebody else, to other zoning? I don't understand why we're putting it in there unless we're releasing a previous requirement. Maybe it's just language.
Wasn't further clarification?
It hasn't changed. And so basically, it includes restaurants as an outdoor amenity space that can be counted.
Okay.
Okay, anything further from council?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, we also talked about tiny homes, and I understood somebody to say, this doesn't mean you're popping up everywhere, but the way I'm reading it, people can ask for a special use permit to put them in all zoning, all residential zoning. Is that right?
Yes, and basically, the way it reads is, a building between 400 and 749 square feet designed exclusively for dwelling purposes and generally as a part of a larger development containing common areas within the medium density and high density multifamily residential districts. So it only pertains to medium density and high density multifamily upon approval of a special use permit. Tiny homes may not fall under American National Standards Institute A 119.2, which regulates recreational vehicles and must meet all applicable building codes as adopted by the city. Tiny home developments must additionally meet the site requirements as set forth in section 2.4.2. So what that means is that you can't have a tiny home on wheels.
Right.
Okay.
I got the second part, but it
Okay.
sounds like you can. If I wanted to put a tiny home in my backyard, in my neighborhood, I can apply for a special use permit to do so?
Currently, you can do that. As
As is.
Yes, you can do that now.
So we're putting a change in that you can't?
We're not taking that away, Ms. Barr.
Okay.
We weren't talking about taking that away. What we were talking about is if we wanted to establish tiny home developments. But at the same time, we were clear with y'all in the discussion that if I wanted to put a tiny home as an accessory use or if I wanted to create a man cave.
Carrot checks.
Or you ask for permission to do that?
Right.
Thank you.
Now, we also allow accessory dwelling units, which you can put in your backyard. But they have to meet code. They have to be at least 750 square feet. Okay. But tiny homes can be 400 up. All right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion by council? No?
I just want to make sure that council is comfortable with the first reading, or if y'all feel like we need to talk about this anymore, you just tell me what you want to do.
I do want us to conversate with folks so that we can be able to get a little bit of an understanding if there is any substantial adjustments to the ordinance that requires us to do another first reading. We can do that. Because we're not necessarily in a rush. It's just
And that's what I'm saying, if council wants to not do this tonight, not do it at the first reading in May, we can again come back to you as a part of the work session. Those items that are that even Ms. Barr's question, we'll make sure that if we're not in a rush. This document has been in place a little bit more than a year, and we can make sure we address those concerns and
and we can take no action on this so that you don't have to put an arbitrary timeline on it. Is that right? Is that correct? That's correct. Okay, so we're just taking no action on it. If that's what council would like, until they can come back for
in May.
They come back for the work session. Okay.
When you're coming back in May, is it pertaining to everything in the amendments, or are we extrapolating the fire?
Jake, what I'd like to do is I want to make sure we're going to go back through and make sure y'all, and I'm not saying you're not clear, But I just want to make sure because it's significant. And we're gonna deal with fire, we're gonna deal with tiny homes, we're gonna deal with even the Scribner errors. And we will put it on a work session. We'll go through the work session and then we have the first reading at that meeting.
All right.
Yeah,
Any further discussion by council?
No, we need to do it right.
Yeah, we're not in a rush. Just take our time. Yeah. Okay. And so Kane, just for record purposes, we just need to state that council is taking no action on 7, or is there a particular measure we need to take?
I think that's fine, Mayor, because y'all already directed it in the work session before, so no action's okay.
Okay. All right, let the record show that council is taking no action on agenda item 7. We'll move down to agenda item 8, which is consideration of a motion to approve application SUB 25-03-02, 5 Guys Development LLC requests a preliminary subdivision plat on 33.08 acre portion of an 11-acre parcel in order to amend the Phase 3 townhome subdivision at 6922 Burke Hartford Road. Is there, Kathy?
Yes, thank you, sir. The subject site is a mostly vacant lot with 3 proposed phases being developed in the R2 Townhouse Residential Zoning District. We also, as a note, we also allow single-family residential zones based on the R6 as well. The initial phases of development have been previously approved by the City Council. The 3rd phase, as presented by this case, represents the revision of the 3rd phase of development and now incorporates a design of 139 units, with 56 of those being single-family residences. And we can see the site. It's a large site, 33 acres, outlined in red. Future land use map shows this to be in a developing neighborhood. The zoning shows this to be the R2, which previously was approved by City Council. The subject property is essentially vacant. You'll see that on the top left. The property to the east is shown on the bottom right. Property to the west, again, it's still vacant land, is shown on the top left, and property to the north on the bottom right. And you can see that these are the 3 phases. The 3rd phase, which is down to the south, is what we're talking about. Essentially, it's being modified to some extent. The 1st phase has already been subdivided, and the 2nd phase, which is, thank you, is in the middle, is being developed, and it's the 3rd phase that is being changed to some extent. Staff does recommend approval of SUB 25-03-02. If this petition is approved, by the following enumerated conditions. All conditions as outlined in SUB 24-05-04 must be upheld in accordance with the approval of that plat, to include right-of-way improvements and traffic study implementations. At the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2025, the Commission recommended approval of the request to the staff conditions upon a 3-0 vote, with 2 abstaining. Thank you. That is my presentation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any discussion by council?
As we talked about, it's hard to see these little bitty maps on our computers. And I'm confused which phase we're talking about and what the change is. So phase 3, according to the map I'm looking at, is all the little boxes drawn at the top, back over at Herman Rushing Road. Is that what we're changing?
No, it's the bottom area. It's the
The
property
big
to
gray
the
area
south.
on the map. It's
Yeah.
labeled phase 2, but it's.
If you come up here, I'm sorry, Ms.
I
Walker.
think it is
If
labeled.
you come inside and look at the map and point to it here. Come in here.
I can help with that. Phase 3 is actually this area right here. So previously, a few months back, this was 214 townhomes between this and this. Now we are revising that to become 77 townhomes and 62 single-family detached. So dropping the unit count by about 75 units.
More single family and fewer townhomes.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And it's the top up of Russian you're talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
And I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I had it
It's
totally.
fine. It's fine.
Any further discussion by council? Okay. All right. Seeing that there's no further discussion by council, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We move down to agenda item 9, which is a public hearing, consideration of motion to approve application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro Alcohol Ordinance, Section 6-13A. Borough the Hatchet, Axe Throwing, 19 East Vine Street. Owner Michael McKellar Jr., license type bar. Is there a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there anyone here to speak for this request? Is there anyone here to speak against this request? All right, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is there any discussion by council?
Obvious is alcohol and throwing axes, but who thinks that's a good idea?
Yeah.
But I guess we can't restrict it based on.
I know about 20,000 people that might like that. Yeah, that sounds like fun, though. Yeah, don't tell my wife about it, though.
As long as it's doing it.
Yeah, I know, right?
Safety things in place.
All right, any further discussion by council? Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Before you vote, for the record, that Jenny Henley is not present. for the
She's
record.
absent, yeah. She's not here.
I already have it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's
All right, thank you. All right, we move down to agenda item 10, public hearing, consideration of a motion to approve application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro Alcohol Ordinance, Section 6-13A, Antoinette's Cafe, Kitchen, 193 West Main Street, owner Akira Boggs, license type low volume. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we want to open up, is there anyone here to speak for this request? Anyone to speak against the request? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's open it up for our council discussion. Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 11, consideration of a motion to approve a contract with Meetings Traffic Signal LLC in the amount of $33,790 to perform traffic signal improvements at the Chandler Road, Georgia Avenue intersection. The project ENG-139 is funded from 2023 T-SPLOST funds. Mr. Pettit, is there any more you can give us beyond that?
We recommend it to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion from council? All right, seeing that there's no discussion from council, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to agenda item 12, which is consideration of a motion to approve a purchase agreement for property acquisition at 45 West Main Street for the construction of a parking lot for the West Main Street Streetscape Improvement Project, ENG-92. Funding is provided from 2018 T-SPLOST funds. Mr. Penn, is there anything you can give us beyond this?
Mayor, members of the council, we talked about this piece of property a couple of meetings ago, and this is, we think, a pivotal piece of property that we could use now for parking in the downtown area, especially right at the corner of West Main and College Street. But I will simply say, we do recommend approval in the acquisition. The only thing I would say for the record, going for the future, at some point, what might be a parking lot for now, at some point in the future, in development, it might be a building at some point, but it's a good piece of property for us to have our control of.
All right, thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, again, it may be a mapping area, but what I'm seeing is that you're talking about property on Sarah. North Sarah or South. Not
That's
North.
13, we're on 12.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, any further discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move on to agenda item 13, consideration of a motion to approve the purchase agreement for right-of-way acquisition on North Zillerau Avenue and a drainage easement between North Zillerau Avenue and Northside Drive East for the North Zillerau Avenue Sidewalk Project, ENG-122J. Funding is provided from the 2018 T-SPLOST fund. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, this is, right away we need for that project, for sidewalk project, and it is for an easement for some drainage. We do recommend approval and purchase for $64,000.
Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
No, I'm just looking down at this form. You approve this form?
Sure.
All right, we go down to agenda item 14, consideration of a motion from city council. Other business from city council. Any business from city council?
I'm just checking my calendar to see what all we need to highlight.
Yeah.
So of course, we got our second Downtown Live Thursday night with the Breakfast Club. The food truck set up at 6 and the band starts at 7, so everybody come down. The weather's gonna be good. It was beautiful last week. It's a really fun downtown thing that the city of Statesboro is providing for the folks who live here and close by. We also have Art Fest coming up. It's conflicting with another event, but if you're available, Art Fest at Sweetheart Circle, 10 till 2 on Saturday the 26th is another cherished local tradition that children and adults enjoy. So take advantage of both of those.
Thank you. All right, we'll go down to city manager comments. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, a couple of things I want to just call to your attention. Mayor and council, the mayor sent a letter to Governor Kemp and to Speaker of the House, and just want to appreciate what they've done for our community. And so just want to call that out.
Okay.
And then ask y'all to reserve May the 13th at 2 o'clock for the budget work session. We'll go over the budget for the first time with council. There's been a lot of news media about the vault. And just for the record, and we shared, first off, I think our community has done amazing to respond for circumstances that were really beyond our control. The city asked for a plan from the owners of the vault, and the owners used that as an opportunity to say that we ordered that they vacate the building. That was not the case. But even at that, our community responded in amazing ways to help people find places to live, and in some cases, based on income, even helping people with deposits and months rent for 2 or 3 months. So I just want to be clear, and we continue to work with those folks, and we still expect a plan from the vault. That I think that period expires on Friday, so by Monday we expect them to have a plan for how they intend to address those deficiencies that were identified by a structural engineer, not hired by the city, but a structural engineer that was fulfilling his ethical and legal obligation to inform us of the deficiencies that he found. I did want to take this time to also recognize Dr. Candace Bodkin from Georgia Southern University. We are pleased to be a finalist for All-American City recognition, and we'll need to go, some of us will need to go to Denver, Colorado late in June for a competition. Got 10 minutes to make our case to be recognized as an All-American City. But I want to give Dr. Bodkins credit because she's the one that took the different projects and the things that y'all have been doing, that y'all have approved for us to be able to move forward, the Youth Connect, the Youth Council, the Village Builders, the different boards and commissions that are engaged in our community. They took all of that and they committed that to writing to submit for consideration by the National Civic League. So I want to give Georgia Southern and Dr. Bodkins their acknowledgement in this meeting and say that we got a lot of work to do between now and the end of June to get ready for that presentation. And I think that's all I got, Mayor. We just had a great ribbon cutting, and youth, we do appreciate them and all that they pour into our community, and our community is better for our youth that are constructively involved in making our community a better place.
Thank you, Mr. King. All right, we want to go down to public comments. Any public comments? Mr. Devine.
All right, Mr. Riggs. Mr. Mayor, City Council, I want to thank you for listening to me last time I came and spoke with you. I don't want to belabor the point. I sent an email to all of you, Mr. Penny. I understand that it was forwarded to you as well. So just if you all have any opportunity to speak with me after the meeting, I'm going to make myself available. I want to let you know I did survive the cold in Canada. Got down to -3 when I was up there, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But the training that I went through to help balance the body was absolutely worth it. That's all. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak and make myself available.
Good deal. We're glad to see you back in South Georgia.
Thank you.
Didn't bring that cold. I know.
No, sir.
Keep it away. Keep it away. All right. Next, we'll go down to agenda item 17. We do have a executive session. Consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss real estate in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3B. Is there a motion to enter executive session? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, Chief.